Guys, well, next we got my favorite Kiwi, Till himself, and he's going to be presenting from New Zealand. I think that's where he is probably right now, but yeah, he's on right now. Till, I just gave you co-host. You should be able to jump in here. There you are. How's it
Yeah,
going,
that's the
Till?
one. Awesome. Yeah, pleasure to be on again, Jason. It's
Yeah,
always
man.
one second.
Good
But
kid.
yeah,
Good
always,
kid.
yeah, always fun to be on. But yeah, that's right. So I'm speaking from New Zealand, so from the other side of the world.
That's right. That's
Um,
yeah. Did you have a good little holiday?
oh,
Good.
absolutely. Not in a while now, but but when we did, it was good. Yeah. So,
Okay.
but it's been summer over here, so a little bit of time at the beaches. But yeah, we're just heading into the winter season now with lots and lots of rain. So that's fun. So,
Okay. Good, good. Awesome, man. Well, I don't want to take any more of your time because I know you got a big special thing you got going on today, so I'm excited for it.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I've got a bit of a present. Oh, what time is it in New Zealand? At the moment, it's 9:30 in the morning here. So to answer that question. But yeah, absolutely. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to share my screen and I'll run through that. I know we've just got half an hour, so I'll just see if I can get all of that in. And yeah, just let me know once you can see my screen here.
You see your Zoom screen there. Now we see your presentation.
Perfect. Awesome. All
Good.
right. Well, I'm just going to keep it in this format. I'm not going to large screen it because usually that breaks Zoom. So we'll just keep it like that.
Yep,
But
no
yeah,
worries.
so pardon?
No worries. That sounds good. And I'm gonna sign off, and I'll just be here, but I'm gonna go invisible.
Good stuff. Awesome. Well, I'll talk to you once I'm done. All right, so let's jump into it. So my talk today is about how to design your dream tiny house and also get custom plans for your tiny house. So, well, first of all, welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to be on. And yeah, what I was saying before, I think this is my third time now presenting at one of Zach and Jason's events, and it's always a pleasure. So yeah, thank you so much for putting this together, and also for Jel for managing this event as well. It's awesome how this has come together. And yeah, to get into it, who am I? I am Till, one of the co-founders of Tiny Easy. And we are a business based out in New Zealand. And this is my team. And what we do is we make the only tiny house design software, and it's specifically made for the tiny house industry. And I'll show you that in a bit. And so it's a very applicable talk for this topic. So what I wanted to show you as well, to give you some additional insight, Lauren and Eugene, my other two co-founders of Tiny Easy, they have actually designed and DIY'd their own tiny house that they currently still live in, and also, yeah, designed the software from. So true tiny house business. And myself, I'm a designer, and over time we have designed over 100 tiny homes now. And these are some of the designs that we've done, and there's lots of them out there in the web. And we actually sell some plans together with Zach and Jason on tinyhouseplans.com as well. So you might have seen them on there too. So what will you be learning today? What I will be talking about is, well, designing a tiny house is one of the most important steps in your tiny house journey. From what we've seen, there's three different things that you need to cover before you can get started with your DIY project. So first of all, you need to figure out the finances. How are you going to afford the tiny house? The next one is, where are you going to put the tiny house once you can actually live in it? And the third one is, what will the tiny house look like and what will the design be? And you need to have all of these three together in order to really start with your tiny house DIY project. And what I will show you today is how to take your tiny house from an inspiration stage to an actual concept that you can refine further or even build off with finished plans. And just as a quick reminder, this talk is for everyone. So if you're just at the start of your journey and you're just figuring out if tiny houses are a good idea for you, or if you're already further into your DIY journey and you want to see how do you even actually put a design together, it's going to be super helpful. If you're watching as a tiny house builder, this is also going to be helpful for you because you'll probably be facing very similar problems. So also as a quick reminder, make sure to stick around until the end of this talk. I've got a bit of a bonus lined up for you guys as well. So also, while I'm talking, just pop some questions into the chat and I'll see if I can have some time in the end to answer them. And let's just jump right into it. So the biggest challenge is to turn your dreams of your perfect tiny house that you have in your head and put it into something real. So put it down on paper and put it into something that you can actually build off. And when you first get started, you usually have a bunch of inspiration. So you have signed up for a Pinterest account, you have collected 300,000 pins, and your inspiration board probably looks like something like this right here. And that's okay. It's a great start. But if you want to move forward into the design stage, you actually have to refine that further. At the moment, it's going to be really difficult like this to design a tiny house off this inspiration board because there's just so many pieces of information and so many different, I guess, knowledge points that you would need to put into your design. And when you start with your design project and you have finished your, I guess, gathering inspiration stage, you need to refine that inspiration into a manageable chunk. So what I'm trying to say with that is you should have 1 or 2 pieces of inspiration for every single part of your tiny house. So for example, your bathroom in this case has 2 pieces of inspiration. Your living room has 1 or 2 pieces of inspiration. Your kitchen has another 2. Your bedroom has 2. And then your exterior has 2. So it doesn't have to be 2. It can be 1 or 3. But in the end, it's important to have a very concise amount of inspiration so you can then analyze each piece of inspiration to put that into your design. This is only a starting point, so it doesn't matter if you are going to change it later, but it's just a big help to get that design stage rolling and get into the next stages of actually putting something together. You can always improve it afterwards. So the biggest question is then, well, I've got this inspiration and I've refined it now, but how do I turn it into a design that I can actually work off? And this is where we come in with TinyEasy. What we have done is we have created the first tiny house design software. We call it the 3D Tiny House Designer. And it's kind of like a beginner-friendly drag and drop system to allow you to put together a tiny house design with tiny house specific tools. So you have a trailer tool, a shell tool, a roof tool. You've got loft panels. You have cabinets and furniture. All of that fun stuff that you need to put together a tiny house design, we have a tool for that. And once you're done, once you have put together the design in 3D, you can actually create fully custom tiny house plans of it. So you don't have to draft this manually, but the software generates an entire plan set for you. This is only a little bit of, I guess, preview of what it does, but in the end, you actually end up with 40 to 50 detailed pages of what your tiny house looks like, and you don't have to get this done by a professional draftsperson. So the biggest thing is, how does it actually work? What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly live design a tiny house while I'm on this call. So what I'm going to do now is I will jump into my software here and I will keep referencing the inspiration that I have just put together to create a tiny house design. So I will create a new design here. You can either choose to design from scratch based on an empty trailer, or you can choose from templates. So if you have we have a bunch of different templates that we've pre-designed. So if you want to start with those rather than starting from scratch, you can do that too. But what I will do is I'll start just with an empty shell and I will just call this DIY Fest 2024. There we go. All right, so I'm going to choose the Imperial system here. You can also choose metric if you're based in Europe or Australia or New Zealand. And I'm just going to define my base tiny house parameters. So based on my inspiration, I know it's going to be a reasonably small tiny house. So I'm going to pick a 20-foot trailer. It's going to be 8.5 feet wide, and I will make it 13.5 feet tall. So it's going to allow for a loft as well. And I will use a 4-inch wall thickness, a gable roof, and a 35-degree pitch to match the kind of style that we have in our inspiration. So just to quickly look back at it, we're going for this kind of Scandinavian gable style tiny house. So there we go. Now we have my empty shell here and I can start editing it. And like what I said before, we have a bunch of different tools to design the exterior and the interior of your tiny house. So what I'm going to do now, I will go into my foundation or my trailer in this case, and I will make sure that I only have 2 axles here because it's a smaller tiny house, so it doesn't need all of those. And I will just put the axle a little bit further forward to center it. The idea is that you just mirror the design of your trailer manufacturer, but this is just a placeholder to get started with your design. So I'm not going to change the shell or the roof because it's already kind of like how I want it, but you can add bump outs and different roof shapes to really go crazy with your design. So any kind of tiny house you can imagine, you can probably design it in here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a design that has 2 big open doors and then some smaller doors and windows for the bathroom. So I will go ahead and pick some exterior doors here. So I'll use a French door on this side and pop it in there. And then I will grab a trifold door. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'll use the other side of the trailer here like that. There we go, because we don't really want the axle or the tow bar to get in the way. There we go. And then we'll drop my doors and windows here as well. And I'll just center this in the middle. And now we've got our first, I guess, start to the exterior. I'll just use 2 panels here to create a bit of a cleaner look. And now what I can do is I'll just drop in some more windows to finish the exterior design, and I'll move this one here, let's say 3'6" from the floor. I know that I want to have a bathroom in there later on, so I'm kind of already have pre-designed it a little bit in my head. And we'll put this 2'11" from this side to center it fully. And yeah, there we go. Now the shell is already done. And now we can start and apply some materials. So to create a Scandinavian look, I will go back to my inspiration and see what they have done to, well, make it feel that way. So we've got this timber accent here with a steel or dark steel roof. We've already got a dark steel roof here, but I'm actually going to apply some timber cladding. So I'll go into my materials here and I'll choose my wood cladding, and I will choose Nordic pine, and I'll apply that to all of my walls. And I'll do the same thing for my side pieces as well. There we go. And now we already have that Nordic style. And now what I will do is I will start designing my interior now that we finished with the exterior. So I will grab the walls here and disable them. And now I can start dropping in my interior walls. So I will go into my walls here and grab some wall panels. And these, again, are just starting points, really, that you can resize. So at the moment, this is 2'8". I'll probably just make this 2'10", like this, make it a bit bigger. And I'll move it 4 feet away from this wall. Then I will grab an interior door and a cavity slider, and we'll pop that in here, 4 feet away from the side. We don't want a gap in between here, and now we have a 2'4" gap here to fill in with another wall panel. There we go. We'll make this 2'4". Move it over to the side, and there we go. It's already in the right position. So now we've got the separation between the bathroom and the kitchen, and I will actually start designing my kitchen. So let's have a look at what kind of style I'm going for. So if we look at this inspiration here, we'll see that we have a galley style kitchen. I like this design style, but I think the galley style kitchen will have a little bit of a better space in the end, and you will have more bench space to work on. So I will try to replicate that. And we've got a bit of a darker style in the carcasses here as well. So I'll try to replicate that. So we'll go in and go into my cabinets over here, and I'm just going to choose a sink preset. So this is just a starting point. You can modify any cabinet to whatever shape or form you like, because cabinets are super important in tiny homes. But I'm just going to use this standard sink preset here, and it's preset to industry standards, so you don't really have to think about, oh, how big are cabinets and how big is a toe kick and all that kind of stuff. So we've already thought about that before. And now I'm just going to start dragging in some cabinets to go next to it. So we'll probably grab this cabinet here, move this right next to this cabinet, and we'll grab another door cabinet. There we go. Pop that in. Perfect. And now we'll start with the other side. And I want to kind of have a cooktop. So we'll put this into the corner here, and we can probably add a little bit of splashback later on. And then we'll grab another regular door cabinet here, and we'll pop that in. And then we'll also grab an integrated fridge. So we'll go into my tall cabinets and grab an integrated fridge freezer, and we'll just pop that next to my cabinets. And there we go. Now we've designed my kitchen. So of course, what I said before, you can go into a lot of detail with how you want to modify the cabinet. So for example, you can go in and change the style of the cabinets. If you want a shaker or arch style, you can do that too. I'll just put it back to a flat style here for now, because I'm going for something a bit cleaner. And then we'll add a panel here on the side to finish the cabinet, and we'll do the same thing on the other side here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a loft panel on top. So we kind of want a sleeping loft, similar to what's going on here. And we want to cover it all the way until the end of this fridge, really. So we can then put a ladder here on the side. So I'll grab a loft panel. I'll grab a mezzanine panel, or we call it mezzanine in this case. We'll make it 7'10" wide, because it should be 7'10" this way. There we go. And then we'll cover the side, and then I'll see how much space I have to cover that entire distance. It's 10'4". So we'll make it 10'10", not 100, geez, 10'4" long, like that. And then we'll remove a little bit of height from this cabinet. We'll make this 6'6". And what I'm seeing is that the arrangement doesn't really make sense here anymore. We have this little segment at the top. So what I'll do here, I'll go into my segment settings. I'll just say I want 2 segments, please. And then the top segment will be a bigger one, maybe 2'6", or even 3'6". There we go. And then we'll probably just turn this into a left hung door. So this is just a regular, a regular fridge that opens up to the side. So there we go. Now we've defined the kitchen, and it makes sense with the loft on top. And now we'll actually put in a bed. So we'll just go into my bedroom furniture here, and I'll grab a standard queen size bed, pop it in there. And then we can grab a ladder. So rather than taking a ladder that's fixed, I'll probably grab a ladder on a slider. So we can pull it out a little bit into the middle to have that additional headroom because it's a gable roof. So we kind of don't really want to climb up on the side. And then one other thing that I just thought about, if you look into the interior here, it's a little bit closed up and a bit claustrophobic, and we want to open that up a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some skylights. So I'll go back into my windows here again, grab a skylight and pop it on the roof, and we'll probably make this 3 foot wide, and then this will be 3'6" tall. Move this a foot away from the corner here, maybe add 10 inches down there. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side, copy that over, make that 10 inches from this edge, and then 1 foot over here. And then if we look into the interior, we now have a much nicer open space here for my tiny house loft. And now we're almost done. We still need to do the bathroom and the living room. So to do the bathroom, I'll get rid of my walls and my lofts like this, and I'll start inserting a shower tray. So we'll just go into my furniture here, go into my bathroom. Actually, we'll already grab a toilet because I know we'll need this later on. We'll pop that over there. And then we'll go in and just grab a regular shower tray. So we'll probably just make this 2'6" deep, and then we'll make this 4 feet wide to span the entire gap. And then we'll grab a piece of glass here that we can put next to the shower tray. We'll just make this 2 feet. And that way we can already replicate this kind of open design style that we've got going on here. And then all we still need is a shower slider. So where's my shower sliders or shower rail? There we go. We'll pop that in here. And then we can probably use a vanity as well. So we'll just go into my cabinets here and grab a wall hung vanity here with a bowl on top, move that into the side. And we actually have a bit of space here. So we might as well add in a bit of a cabinet. So we'll go back into my storage cabinets here and grab a storage cupboard. And that's a little bit large here at the moment. So we'll probably just make this 1'6" deep like that. And let's see how much space we have here. So we still have another 3 inches. So we'll make this 2'3" wide. So we can fully use that space here. There we go. Now we've designed the bathroom. And the last thing that I still need to do is add in a little bit of a living room. And I know that I want to grab a couch here. Oops, we'll put it this way. And we kind of want to have a little coffee table here in the middle. Maybe we'll grab a rug to go underneath as well. And we also want to have a fireplace on this side. So we'll grab a fireplace from my interior as well. There's one over here. The window currently interferes with it, but we can move this over. So we'll probably just make it 1'6" by 1'6" to fit that into the space, maybe make it 2'6" tall like that. And then we can actually go ahead and move my window over a little bit to make sense in this space. So we'll probably just give it a 2-inch gap like this. Actually, we'll just need to move this over a little bit. Let's see what's happening over here. I need to enable my walls again. There we go. Pop that in. There we go. Done. And now we'll do the same thing over here. Actually, we'll just leave it here for now. What I would probably do is I would probably move the trader over a little bit, but it just works fine for now. And one other thing is I'll probably also want to add a little bit of a window so we can look out from the kitchen. So I'll just grab a bifold window here and pop it in. And now we have a window as well. Fantastic. So that's it. Now what we can do, we can actually start to add some materials as well. So what I'm going to do now is I will disable my walls and we'll just create that darker style here that we've got going on in the kitchen here. So I'll just select a cabinet and say I would like to have a black style, please, for my carcasses. And then we'll do the same thing for my cabinetry fronts. So really what I'm just doing is I'm looking at my inspiration and I'm just replicating what they've got going on there to get the same kind of feel. And then I'll do the same thing here for the countertop. We'll probably just go for a rendered concrete-ish style like that. And then we'll do the same thing for the interior. So if we look at the interior design here, we've got a timber design. So we'll mirror that too. So I'll just select my wall here. And for my interior, we'll just have a plywood for everything. And then we'll do the same thing for my ceiling as well. And there we go. We've basically just designed an entire tiny house in probably like 10, 12 minutes or something like that. Of course, you can still refine it further. But yeah, so that's how the software works. You basically just drag and drop a couple of elements until you have a base design. And if you're DIYing your tiny house, you would then keep refining that design until it suits your unique lifestyle. And of course, everything is very malleable, so it doesn't matter where you start. You can change it until it works for you. So what I'm going to show you now that I've created the design, I'll actually show you how the plans look like that we can export from this as well. So we'll just quickly add all of these to groups so they show up in the plans. There we go. And then we'll click the generate plans button and we'll say generate plans. There we go. So what this is doing at the moment, it is taking the design that we have done in 3D and it is putting it onto 2D plans that you can build off or that you can show to a builder if you want to get the tiny house built by a builder. So it's not fully DIY, but at least you have DIY'd the design and made it right for you. So I'm just going to wait until the export is done. There we go. And what it has done, it has created a full plan set here for me based on the design. So we've got some isometrics to get started. Then we've got some perspectives as well. Then we've got our good old floor plan with all of the dimensions for where you've just placed all of your objects. Then we've got the loft or mezzanine plan, the roof plan as well. Then we've got the empty shell without the interior objects. We've got the elevations showing the roof heights. Then we've got the sections. Then we've got the sections of just the shell by itself. And then we've got a window and door schedule showing all of the doors and windows that you need to pass onto your window and door manufacturer. We've got an electrical plan. I haven't placed any electrical items, but you can actually place electrical items in 3D, and then it draws an electrical plan for you. And the same thing goes with the plumbing. You can actually draw plumbing lines in 3D and drag them through the walls, and then they would show up in here in your 3D plumbing plan. And then we've got the cabinetry plans as well, what I've just designed here as well. And it just breaks it down with isometrics, floor plans, and elevations of each cabinetry section that you've just set before as well. So altogether, in around 15 minutes now, I've created a 37-page plan set of your tiny house that you can DIY off. So yeah, that's how the software works. And now let's just get back into the presentation. One thing is that you're probably asking yourself is, how can you get started yourself? So the way that it works is you can head over to our website on tinyeasy.com, and I'll just quickly bring it over here to our main website. There we go. And so what you can do is you can set up a free account for 14 days so you can see if the software works for you. And when you get started, you can actually use our tutorials to learn how the software works as well. So you can learn the basics of how does the interface work? How do you move the camera? How do you place your objects? And then you can go into even more detail, like how does the foundation work, the shell, the roofs, and the bump outs. So basically every part of the tiny house that you're touching when you're designing, there's a tutorial on that, so you know exactly how every tool works. So they're beginner-friendly, bite-sized videos. And you're probably also wondering, like, how much is this going to cost? So our main business is actually that tiny house businesses and tiny house builders use our software in their day-to-day process to design tiny homes for clients or personalize one of their existing models for their client. But what we have done for DIYers, we have created a personal plan that allows you to design your own personal tiny house. And so if you think about it, if you're getting a custom plan set done by a designer or a draftsperson, it's probably going to cost you $2,000 to $3,000. But what we've done is we've created this plan for personal use at $249 for an entire year. So usually you don't need more than a year to design your entire tiny house, but you can design your tiny house, use all of the tools to figure out what your layout is going to be, put all of the detail in, export as many plans as you want, and it's going to be much cheaper than getting it done by a draftsperson. So that's how that works. And one thing that I wanted to say as well, when it comes to the bonus, because this is a DIY fest, of course, we've actually put together 20 unique coupon codes that will allow you to get 30% off for the first year of the personal version. And again, that's probably all you will need anyway, because usually you don't need longer than a year to design your own tiny house. But yeah, so you can use DIY Fest 2024 to get 30% off. So of course, just try out the software, see if it works for you. You can probably design an entire tiny house in it as well. But then if you want to export plans and you want all of the additional tools as well, then use the code if you see it is the right fit for you. So yeah, that's how the software works. It's software specifically made for tiny houses, and you are able to go from an inspiration stage and put it into full tiny house plans without having to be a professional draftsperson. So yeah, that's it. That's how, that's my talk. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to jump into questions and answers, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And we actually have a little bit of time left, so that's fantastic. All right, so let's have a look. Got it. Thank you for being here. We've got one question. So the design process is balloon for creating a loft. So what exactly do you mean with that, Lizzie? If you're still here. So okay, I'm not sure if you're still here, but maybe I can go back into you designed yes, in 15 minutes. See, that's just because we have specific tools, to design every part of the tiny house. So if you would be thinking about, let's say, designing in SketchUp, which is something that we have used for many, many years before we created the software ourselves, it's a 3D modeling tool. And because of that, you need to 3D model everything from scratch. But because of the tools that we've created, you can drag and drop everything together in a couple of minutes, and it's incredibly optimized towards tiny homes in general. So because of that, it's just so much quicker. So yeah, it's a huge time saver. But yeah, so I guess that's it for now. So I guess I can pass on the torch to the next speakers as well, unless you have any questions as well, Zach and Jason.
No, I don't, but it does look like some people were typing some stuff in. So, you want
Perfect. There we go.
to have those?
To clarify, does this give you things like measurements of cut for structure? So this is actually something that we're working on at the moment. We're creating a 3D framing tool. So we want to make this as good as possible. So we actually are doing it so the framing tool analyzes the design and understands where are the openings, how big is the tiny house, and then it generates a timber frame for you. That works for you. And then you can also put in your own rules. So if you have specific codes that you need to apply to, you can basically say, okay, all of my studs should have this kind of spacing. All of my lintels or nogs should have this kind of size. So you can do all of that. So this is going to come soon, sometime within this year as well. So yeah, that you will be able to do that too. But for now, you can do everything up until electrical, plumbing. You get the measurements for floor plans and all that kind of stuff. Can you take these plans to an engineer for stamping if needed? Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people do that. So once you have exported the plans, you can take them to an engineer, get their feedback. If you need to make any changes, I mean, you can make the changes and then export a new set of plans, of course, as well, if you need to do that. But yeah, a lot of people do that and pass them on to an engineer if you need to do that for certification. I already have plans, but want to make adjustments. So when it comes to making adjustments to existing plans, what I would recommend doing is, I mean, you have the plans and you understand where everything is. And what I've just shown you with the tools, you can actually put that design into the software using the plans kind of as a guideline. And then once you've replicated that, you can then start making changes. So you can move objects, you can add new objects, you can change the size of the tiny house and make those changes yourself. So it probably doesn't actually take a long time to put an existing design in. I usually do that quite a lot. When I try out the software, I look at an existing design, replicate it in the software in maybe like 30 minutes. I have replicated it, and then I can start customizing it myself. So it doesn't really matter if it's in the software yet. Let's see what another question is. Can you balloon create whole house frame and then add loft versus bud floor by floor? So I think what you're saying with that is like the loft is free floating in a way. That's just with the way like how you design, I guess. I mean, you need to just start with a loft panel somewhere, and then you would place it, resize it. Of course, you need to place it in a spot where it makes sense structurally. So it usually makes sense to make the loft panel span the entire distance of the tiny house, so the structure can then anchor into the sides, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's a freeform tool, but in the end, once you build it, you would be anchoring it into the sides. That's how I've read the question, so I hope that makes sense as well. All right, there we go. I think that's all questions for now. We've got another 2 minutes left, so we're cutting it close. Does the software come with pre-designed templates? Sorry. Yes, it does. So what we've done, I'll just quickly, if you go on tinyeasy.com and you go into resources, you'll see a tab called Tiny House Designs. And we have a bunch of different designs that we have done beforehand. And most of these are actually in the software already. And so I think there's like 15 or something in the software, and they're both designed to both imperial and metric standards. So yeah, you can just start with the template and start modifying things there as well, if that makes sense. So yeah, we have options for different sizes. So we have got 1-bedroom to 3-bedroom designs and all that kind of stuff. So there's different templates to go off. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. I think I've answered that one then as well. All right. I think that's it. Otherwise, we're going to go over time.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Till. That was pretty impressive. You must have somehow been on double speed as you're doing all that. But no, man, that software is really cool. You guys created some really cool software. Uh-oh, it's blurring it out. We can't
A big old coffee. That's what I had.
You love that. That's awesome, man. Well, yeah, good stuff. Really appreciate you jumping on here. And everybody, you guys should go check out Till Software, tinyeasy.com, and you can check that out. And then, yeah, really appreciate your time, Till. Thanks so much, and we'll be in touch.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you hosting this event today. And yeah, I'm looking forward to talk soon again.
Absolutely, man. Cheers.
All right.
Talk to you
See you,
later.
mate.